I grew up thinking this was just what lunch was. Everyone had this, a slightly damp sandwich, a packet of Wotsits, and if your mum was feeling particularly generous, a penguin. I didn't question it. I was also very lucky enough to have a hot lunch on a Friday, which apparently is a very British thing. And then I moved to Australia, met this one, and found out that kids were eating fresh fruit, sushi rolls, and lollies from the tuck shop. I feel like I've been robbed. Genuinely, 27 years of eating cling-filmed wrapped ham sandwiches, and nobody told me that Australia has some excellent lunches. So my Aussie wife here is going to basically run me through what they have in Australia. I'm going to tell you what we have in the UK. So I'm from Cheltenham, which is a town in the Cotswolds.
I am from Brisbane, Australia.
Maybe I should lay the groundwork for what a British lunch generally looks like. Now, I'm 27 years old. A lot has changed since I had a school lunch. So if things are different now to what your kids eat in the UK, please forgive me. When I was in primary school, generally a ham or salami sandwich on wholemeal bread, because my mum was all about that health. I would get a penguin bar and a couple of pieces of fruit. I was a small kid, so I really didn't eat a lot. And then you could, if you were, had free school dinners like some kids did, or if your parents wanted you to, you could have a hot lunch every single day of the week. But my mum and dad decided they would just give me money for my hot lunch to be on the Friday, which was the best because both schools, I think primary and secondary, it's a very British thing to do a fish and chips Friday. So you will have fish and chips on a Friday. It's just the perfect week for it. Yeah, I would be so excited. It's the last day of school of the week before the weekend. You go into the canteen. I would get my freshly battered piece of fish, my chips. They would have hot baked beans, and then they'd have this massive, like we're talking about a cake mixing bowl size of tomato ketchup.
What about mushy peas?
Well, I wasn't keen on that as a kid. I don't think many kids like mushy peas.
Okay,
that's just me.
fair.
And then you would get a separate plate for your pudding, and the classic was like a school version tray bake of a Victoria sponge with the icing and sprinkles on top, and they pour a load of hot custard on it.
You still love that
I
now.
still love it. There's videos online of people making the classic British primary school tray bake cake that you put custard on, and it is gorgeous.
Well, 2 years ago, I think, for your birthday, I asked Sam what kind of cake he'd want. And all he wanted was a big tray bake with sprinkles on top.
Yeah.
And that's what I made him.
It's true, it's delicious. When I went to secondary school, I did go to a state school, so I'm sure private schools have much fancier lunches. Then all these new things were on offer, like at break time you could get a hot sausage roll and a panini, and it was kind of, like really felt like taking it up a notch.
Yeah.
But generally the typical school lunch at lunchtime was pretty much the same. They would just chop and change some of the meals. I mean, I went to, a lot of these meals happened after like Jamie Oliver came in and got rid of all the turkey twizzlers and all the fatty, unhealthy food.
I watched that show.
Did you?
Yeah.
People were well mad at him,
Yeah.
especially the kids who like turkey twizzlers. Sometimes, around Christmas time, you would get a full roast dinner if you
way.
filled out the form and paid it was a few quid more than a typical lunch.
No way.
And you would rock up and they would have a full Christmas dinner for you with the cake. Oh, it was amazing. If you think about stereotypical British food, you got a lot of that. But I will say, I'm sick of people saying British food is disgusting. It is gorgeous. And I'll tell you what, if you're freezing, -4, and you forgot to bring your coat in the school playground, having a hot fish and chips or a hot Sunday roast on a Friday is to die for.
Yeah.
All right. What did you have for your lunches?
I was a very picky eater growing up, so this is just my personal experience. Don't come for me. But I would have in my lunchbox a home-baked muffin or brownie that my mum baked.
Oh,
and
nice.
then I would have a piece of fruit.
Yeah.
And that would be my...
What kind of fruit are we talking?
Usually apple, or like if it was stone fruit season, a nectarine, or never a banana. That was just me. You know when they go brown in your lunchbox? I just didn't want that, and I wouldn't have eaten it.
There would be that one posh kid with the banana case.
Yes, and that
The
you
plastic
know that can only be used for a banana.
Yeah.
What a waste of money. Anyway, sorry.
Sorry
Single use.
if you owned that.
Single use product. And then for lunch big lunch, I would have a Vegemite sandwich or a salami sandwich. Vegemite and cheese or salami
This is
sandwich.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and then I would have probably another piece of fruit or like a roll-up, which is like a fruit, almost like candy thing.
Yeah, we had those.
Yeah.
I think we called them something else, but I was
They're
well
so
jealous of the
good.
kids who
Yeah.
had them. I was
Yeah.
never a kid who got one of those.
No. And they had the version where they had pictures on them, and if you held it on your tongue and then you took it off, you'd have like a tattoo on your tongue of the picture.
Why would you do that?
I feel like Aussie kids will get it.
That's terrifying.
I think people watching this will know exactly what I'm talking about.
That can't have
and
been good for you.
You'd be so excited if you got that one, because there were different versions. There was like one that was 3 different colours and you could rip off each colour, or there was the tattoo version one, or just the plain one. But everybody loved the tattoo one on the tongue.
Wow. Was it meant to be used for that?
I think so. I'm assuming so. That's what everyone
Fair
did.
play. We would have near the checkout in secondary school a little shelf with like these like pre-made brownies, but they were hard. You know, you knew they were like manufactured in
Yeah.
a factory, and a few things like that. We never had like sweets or chocolate or anything like that.
Yeah, so at my school, we had tuck shop. And so in primary school, what you would do is your parents would write down your tuck shop order on like a brown paper bag with the money in the brown paper bag. And you'd all put it in a tub, and every day someone would take the tub to tuck shop. You'd be on tuck shop duty, and then you'd bring it back to the class afterward. Like you'd go and collect it for lunch or morning tea and bring it back, and it would have, all the brown paper bags would have food in them instead of the money.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, and so
It's like Christmas.
every Friday as well, or second Friday, I can't remember, my mum decided that that was tuck shop day, similar to your hot lunch day. And so I used to have a hot dog.
What, like a sausage in a bun?
Yeah, but like a hot dog sausage.
Oh, like a Frankfurter.
Yeah. In a bun with tomato sauce. And I would have...
Not ketchup.
No, not ketchup. And I would have usually an iced donut. That was
Cool.
my tuck
That
shop
sounds
order.
really good.
Yeah.
I've seen online a lot of people posting what a stereotypical Aussie lunch looks like.
Yeah.
And I need you to kind of like myth bust this for me.
Yeah.
People would have like a bag of twisties. Then they'd have like a hot meat pie. And then they would have like, I don't know, like really fancy fresh fruit. Not like the typical stone fruit and apples and oranges. Sometimes like mango and dragon fruit and stuff like that.
wow.
Is that true? Did you
know
see a lot of
what?
that?
I feel like I did see a lot of like a chip packet in the lunch and things like that,
Yeah.
and meat pies and stuff. But you wouldn't really bring that because it would have to be in your bag all day until you would eat it at lunch. So you wouldn't, you'd have to go to the tuck shop to get a meat pie.
Was it like a fresh one, or was it the ones you put in the microwave?
Yeah, like the 420 version
Yeah.
that you'd put in the microwave.
So like just quickly heat it.
Yeah, or like a little easy bake oven sort of thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you didn't have like a hot canteen for hot food? Like where you
No.
had a tray and they would like give you a
No.
proper fully cooked meal?
No,
What?
as I got into high school, the tuck shop lady who was at the tuck shop I went to, she would maybe once a week or something, cook. She must have done it at home, a batch cook of a meal, and she'd put it in little Tupperwares, and she would sell that. So you could get like a curry or something from her, but she was the one making them at home and bringing them in.
It's just one person.
Yeah. Or like maybe a few,
What?
but this one lady used to do it, yeah.
Now we've compared each other's lunches,
Mm.
which, again, they might be completely different to what you grew up with at your school. Who do you think has the better lunch growing up, would you say? Should we point to the person we think it is? In 3, 2, 1. No way! Do you? What?
I loved my lunch.
You had consistently on a daily basis a much better lunch than me. Sorry, mum and dad. I love you. You brought me up amazing. But your lunch does sound better.
My lunch was great.
But my Friday
Yeah.
hot lunch,
Yes.
that was
But again,
top
like,
tier.
here's the thing. This is just personal preference. I've never liked fish.
Oh,
so
of
fish and
course you
chips on a
didn't.
Friday wouldn't have appealed to me. I would have just wanted the chips.
Yes.
And that is probably what I would have done. I would have loved it, to be fair.
Just a quick one. I noticed that over 87% of you who regularly watch these videos aren't yet subscribed. So if you are watching this video and you feel like continuing the adventure, hit that little subscribe button. It really helps us to keep these videos coming. While we're here, I actually released a poll the other day on the channel. And I said, UK versus Australia school lunches. Before you watch tomorrow's video, I got the date wrong. Who do you think wins? I'll just read some of them out. Someone said, I was never at school that had a daily canteen, so my school lunches were primarily sandwiches and snacks from home. 30 years ago. We occasionally had special occasions for sausage sandwiches, hot dogs, or camps. What are camps?
Like when I would go on a camp, we would have like a UK lunch. It'd be in like a canteen, and there'd be like someone who cooked the lunch for you. So we used to have burgers and chips and stuff, and then you'd have like maybe a curry or stir fry or on a school camp.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Someone said Australia doesn't have school lunches, so UK wins without even trying. This I find really interesting, because although you have the tuck shop, you don't have a hot school lunch typically, unless your school does do it. If your school does it, please let us know in the comments.
That one's funny. Australia doesn't do hot lunches, so UK for the win. You can buy lunch from the tuck shop and sit and eat it on the hard concrete floor. Yeah, that's true. We did eat it on the cold concrete floor.
Oh my gosh, this person said my primary school lunch orders were lasagna and a chocolate milk. My high school lunch orders were chicken balls and a chocolate milk and a free chocolate milk and a free chocolate... Wait, they just keep saying and a free chocolate milk. Because the brakes on the vending machine were broken, the UK can't beat that. Thank you. Fair play. You really like your hot chocolate milk. Oh my word. Someone said both are better than what I see American students eat. Americans, let us know if this is true.
Someone said nothing beats a Vegemite sandwich. And I agree. I absolutely agree.
I do not.
On white squishy bread, which we never had, but...
That's the thing. If I was back in primary school, I would much rather have a Marmite sandwich than a Vegemite one. Having had both. You were nodding. You were nodding before.
No, I thought you were saying I'd rather have a Marmite sandwich. I was really surprised when Sam and I sort of like one day got on the conversation of school lunches and what we used to eat, because there are similarities for sure, but there are a lot of differences. And I guess even though I'd seen like that Jamie Oliver show, I hadn't really thought about the fact that you would have experienced a hot lunch at school as well. So I would love to know, I'm curious to know what your school lunches were. So drop it in the comments below, say what country you're from as well. I'd love to know.
Definitely. I think it's really interesting as well, because I find that sometimes people from other cultures ask Australians what they, eat for breakfast and lunch and stuff. I find that sometimes some Aussies are like, what do you mean, mate? We just eat normal stuff. But I actually think there are a lot of differences, and I don't think it's mentioned a lot. That's why I wanted to make this video, because while the food is still very Western, meat pies, both countries have that crisps, like tuck shop lollies and stuff. Like the lollies are pretty similar in both countries. There's still very core cultural differences, and that's why Brits who come to Australia are like, whoa, this is mad, and vice versa when Aussies go to the UK and they're like, oh, this is a really cool thing you can buy in the supermarket. We love walking around each other's supermarkets in both countries, because there's always cool stuff to find.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing is, this isn't always necessarily about food. It's about the ritual of, going into school as a kid when you didn't have all of these worries of like paying rent and bills. And honestly, for some of us, our only worry in life was if we were going to have a good hot lunch that day and what we would do when we get home from school. And obviously not everyone had the same privileged upbringing, but having a parent or a guardian in your life who would make you lunch, I think is a really special thing. And whether that is a sweaty cling filmed ham sandwich or a lovely homemade brownie like you had, it's still like a real mark of love. And I think one thing that, even though Australia and the UK and India and Japan and South Korea, all these different countries have so many cultural differences in the food, we still all share the same universal experience of someone in our family who loves us, who packs us a lunch. And obviously not every kid growing up has that. We both did. And if you have someone in your life who does that, even as an adult, if you've got a partner or a sibling or a parent who makes you food, then honestly hold that person close, because there's something really wonderful and lovely about that.
Love you, Mum.
If you want to keep the adventure going, don't click away yet. Go click this video right here in the middle. It's all about me trying 6 Australian drinks that I've never had before. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and
post notifications. Let us know if you get that reference.
Little reference to one of our favourite YouTubers. See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.